Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It's Sunday. You know what that means. It's time for Werid Frequencies. Broadcasting live from a cornfield. Rob has a night off and gave me the blessing of Rob Hansen to go ahead and do a show. Let me be honest with you, I was kind of in the mood to do a show tonight. I mean, I know we're running late because StreamYard's having some problems. We're having issues with, ever since the solar flare stuff and all that stuff. I've been having some issues on my show. I've been having some issues on Facebook. Everybody's having issues, and we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. The weird cell phone outage. It wasn't just cell phone either. It was apparently also internet, television, and from what people are saying, it was apparently worldwide. So I don't know. They're saying it was a solar flare. A lot of people are saying it's something different. We'll get into that, of course. We got a lot going on in the world of paranormal. I mean, besides that, you got El Nino possibly going to be spiking really hard this year with storms left and right. Hurricanes, everything, you name it. Hard telling. So, welcome. For those of you just tuning in, if you're expecting Rob, again, Rob took the night off tonight. And we had trouble getting the StreamYard going. We normally try to go live around 8:30. We don't really have a fixed time. But the one thing I love about Rob, this is the one thing I love about him. He's laid back. He loves doing these shows. He loves planning them and all that stuff. I think the big thing really is that he likes doing these shows. The problem for me though is that my upbringing, I'm not really laid back. So I'm just like, I'll text him, hey, we're doing a show tonight. A couple hours later, I'll finally get a response, and it's like, all right, well, let's get on it then. So yeah, welcome to Werid Frequencies. Let's get to it. I mean, I'm sending some links out. How is everybody? I hope everybody in the Central Illinois area is enjoying this beautiful spring weather. Just be careful because Tuesday, they're calling for some pretty vicious weather is what they're saying. Now, I hope not, because for those of you who live outside of Illinois, like last year, we got hit with that. They called it a derecho. I just call it the way I see it. It was a tornado. It was 100% a tornado. And it did a lot of damage to the Central Illinois area. We were without power for 4 days. I lost a lot of stuff in the fridge and everything. And the one thing I remember they said is it could happen again. And I'm hoping, we're getting some pretty good spring-like weather. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. I'm hoping that they're talking about storms possibly this Tuesday. I hope that doesn't happen. I see some people joining us. Come on in. Come. I might talk about a few other things besides Werid Frequencies, paranormal stuff. Because obviously, I could talk about a lot myself. So, let's get right to it. The strange cell phone outage. Okay. The strange cell phone outage that happened earlier this week. And how Netflix may have benefited from it. And what was the cause and what's the running conspiracies and all that stuff. The initial claim was a solar flare. Okay. A solar flare hit the earth. I'm going to bring up a chart real quick to show everybody. Supposedly 2 major solar flares hit the earth. Now, solar flare activity for the earth itself is usually around August. August is when the solar flares hit. Okay. The events peaked at 6:07 p.m. on February 21st, and the second was at 1:32 a.m. So it was like one after another. It was like boom, 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 you know. They hit in the Indian Ocean. The sun's emitted 2 strong solar flares, both R3, which R3 is usually what they claim is the strongest you would get from a solar flare. It's the strongest you would receive and the strongest you could get from a solar flare. Okay. So what happened was the solar flares came into contact with Earth's atmosphere. The Earth's atmosphere created an electromagnetic field from the impact of the solar flares, that raw energy just colliding with this, thank God we have it, this perfect protective dome that keeps solar radiation off of us, because without it, we'd be vaporized. And it created electromagnetic fields. Solar flares could affect communication systems, radar, global positioning systems. And based on the intensity of these eruptions and associated phenomenon, it's likely that these flares contributed to the widely reported cellular network outage. Now, people are saying that the outage was everywhere. The outage was global. It was mostly AT&T that was affected. AT&T by far was the big one. That was the one that got hit the most. I have AT&T for a cell phone provider, and my cell phone was out for a few hours. I know I enjoyed it because I ain't getting, people calling, hey, you got to pay this bill, you got to pay that bill, stuff like that. Look at this. This is an actual live shot of the sun when the solar flare hit. Look at that. That's awesome. Now, that's our sun. That is through a telescope. I'm not sure which telescope. This is from the Dynamics Observatory. This is the first solar flare to say it. It was classified as X6.3. That's an impressive shot. Just this big old ball of gas, and all of a sudden you got what looks like a explosion of some type right there. That's wicked. That is absolutely wicked. So, all right, my phone's going off. What the heck? Let's see. So the solar flare, it cut off. It also, there's reports of it cutting internet communications through, like, Cascom. Cascom, it's so easy to get knocked off, for crying out loud. And it also cut off DirecTV. I heard a few pieces about DirecTV getting cut off and whatnot. Looks like I might have a guest co-host coming in tonight. So I know Bubba's listening. Let's see. Hang on a second. I got people messaging me about this. Let's see. I'll get Bubba in here. Rob's got, again, for those of you just tuning in, wondering where Rob's at the night off. Share the show. Obviously, we like having a good audience. We do the show for free. We love doing this show. But yeah, it's the whole situation with the solar flare is remarkable, in my opinion. There has been theories for a long time that a solar flare could disrupt Earth's power grid and communications grid permanently. There's been talk that there was one of the big things, one of the big issues with 2012, I believe it was the big argument was some people thought, because there was so much solar flare activity, and 2012 was supposedly the end of the Mayan calendar. Supposedly, the reported end of the Earth. Some people thought that was going to be what caused the end of the world. Obviously, it didn't happen, but that's also what that whole theory was. What do I want to say? It's what helped create the movie Knowing with Nicolas Cage. You ever seen that movie, Bubba?
No, I haven't, actually.
All right, so listener Bubba, everybody's gonna be substitute co-host for time being. Well, we're both technically co-hosts. Shit. So knowing the idea about knowing is that a solar flare hits the Earth, okay, and the Earth gets vaporized. During 2012, the big theory was that the Mayan calendar was coming to an end. People thought, oh, we're gonna die. Obviously it didn't happen, but there was also a lot of solar flare activity. So a lot of conspiracy theorists thought, maybe what was going to happen was that's how Earth gets nuked, gets taken out,
But
was through a solar
and
flare.
in reality, though, I mean, we could eventually have a solar flare that really fucks things up, but we haven't
Right.
had that.
Right. We could have a solar flare, but the thing is, it's not going to be like devastating like the movies claim it is. The most it would do, it would knock out our power grid, knock out communicate, kind of like what the one earlier this week did. Knock out communications and all that stuff. It's not one of those things where it's like it's going to just eviscerate the planet. No. The sun would have to go supernova to do that.
Oh yeah.
So, which I don't know how old the sun is. I think the sun's like, according to the math, it's supposed to be young. Old is the sun is 4.603 billion years old. That's crazy. So the sun is older than Earth. Earth is actually Earth is older. Earth is 4.543 billion years old. Wow. It's pretty nifty.
Yeah.
So, did you have any cell phone issues when your cell phone went out, Bubba?
No, but like I heard that it wasn't just AT&T, it was some like US Cellular and
U.S.
a
Cellular
couple
reported
others. But did
it
you hear
was.
that the latest is that AT&T is going to give those customers a $5 credit on their bill for that?
I get a $5 credit. You cannot be serious.
And
My
people are just like, is that a joke?
My cell phone bill is $120 a month for me and Susan. You can't. That's what you're gonna give me $10 off. That's ridiculous.
Well, and the fact that people are bitching because they're like, they couldn't even call 911 if they had to, which could have caused or risked a lot of lives that way. But I
Well,
don't know.
I can't remember. I think there is some kind of way to dial emergency services if something happens. What's up, Amanda?
Normally, but they said that you couldn't during that outage. The
Right.
only way you could have is what they were telling everyone to do is instead of using your data, you had to connect to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you had to use Wi-Fi calling. And emergency services still have their phones hooked up to where like they could receive land calls or stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, the most I have, my cell phone was shut off for like half a day. I
Yeah.
actually enjoyed it. Now that's the one thing some people I'm seeing. Of course, when something like this happens, all the conspiracies is that the Russians did it. Right now they discovered today that there was a weather balloon flying over Western U.S. They found that out Friday. Well, come to find out, it's actually a hobby balloon. Somebody built it as a hobby and it got away from them. The person who owns it already confessed to it.
Do you really believe that shit too? I mean,
well, okay. I think considering
it just seems awful coincidence after that shit happened last year, and then all
uh-huh.
of a sudden again. I mean,
Well, I'll tell you, it 1 year ago, I was on another podcast where we were covering the weather balloon situation. And I remember that was one of my favorite podcasts I did because you watch that situation just go from 1 to 2, and then all of a sudden there was reports of a UFO being shot down, mistaken for the weather balloon.
yeah.
I don't think Do I believe the weather balloon that was shot down last year was Chinese? Yes, I do. I believe it is, and I believe it was something China got ballsy with.
Yeah,
Do I believe China would be foolish enough to do the same thing a second time on almost the year anniversary of that? I don't believe so.
I think they would.
I mean,
Why not?
China already got, it's been a year, first of all. Number one, what would China gain from it's been a year. The US could
Yeah.
move stuff around, they could relocate important things and whatnot,
Which could
but
be a reason to send another one to find out what we did different.
it really could. But they have said it's a hobby balloon. The balloon itself has already been identified. I think I can find a picture. There's a picture I saw uh that shows the balloon. A pilot took a picture of it and it was online. And they already said, look at the photo. It's like it's much different than the Chinese balloon. Okay. So here is, hey, Casey, here is the weather balloon from last year. That's the spy balloon from last year. Okay. This guy right
Yeah.
here. That's moments before the balloon was shot down. Okay. Now, if I go to, where is, oh, no. That's the one from last year. There is a photo that shows the actual balloon in question that's floating over the United States. Currently, China wanted to see what we were planning. Trust me, there is not. All right, there's the current balloon. That is the current balloon. It's much different. You can also see there's no satellite
Yeah.
hub underneath it. You know, it's not. I mean, could this be disinformation to lead us away from something else? Yeah, it possibly could be. But this is the current balloon that's floating over the Midwest, or not the Midwest. I think it's the central western US. It's not as big. It doesn't have the large array underneath it. So, and see, look, there's a balloon we
I
have
think
right
it's
now.
already past the United States now.
I think it is too. There's the original balloon. That is a spy balloon, 100%. That has a miniature satellite hooked up to it. And then we go back to the current one. I just had that picture. Where did it go? I swear, you see so many of these little white orbs, you're just like, you lose track. I seriously just had. But anyways, you can see the, there it is. You can see the differences. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe they're saying it's a hobby balloon. Maybe they released a false photo to hide the fact that it really is a Chinese balloon because it is an election year. And we already know the president right now is facing a hell of an uphill battle to try and convince the American people, you know, hey, I'm good enough to be reelected. I personally hate both of them, but I think he's the worst one we've had. So, but yeah, so that's what the rumor is. So
Well,
they,
if Biden gets elected again, I think he's going to be running the country from a nursing home.
I think if Biden, okay, I don't like to get political. I really don't. I know some people sit
I
there.
don't either, but
Yeah. I know some people, suggest, oh, Tyler likes to get political. No, I don't. I don't. I think if Biden does get reelected, he probably will step down for Kamala, considering the report that came out. And you know what? Casey says it correctly. Time to start out with a fresh young president. Biden's
that's
like,
what I say.
yeah, Biden's like what, 81?
Trump's
Trump
not
is,
far behind him,
no,
so
Trump's not far behind. Trump's like what, 79?
something like that.
Yeah, I think it's time to start fresh. That's why this Nikki Haley is impressing me. I'm hoping she stays with it and gets in there. There's talks of Tulsi Gabbard possibly throwing her hat in the ring. It's still too early to tell. I mean, it is, after all, just only the end of February. Um, you never know. You never know who might jump in at some point, So So, Bubba, you're a Bigfoot fan, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
I know you send me almost every day. When we're about ready to do a show, we literally called this segment the Bubba Files. You have it for a while because obviously you're in the hospital still. Are you out?
No, I'm still in this rehab place for
Oh,
now.
how much longer?
Well, I don't know. They may be kicking me out this week. I'll have to find out. But that's the thing is I've got an apartment getting ready, but it's not going to be ready till like at least March 11th.
Oh, well, that's not too far off.
No, but if they kick me out of here this week, I ain't got nowhere to go.
Well, I mean, you can go live with your fiance. By the way, congratulations on on getting
Thank
engaged.
you. Except for
Um,
she's in a second floor apartment that's I can't do the whole flight of steps with the walker.
oh, really?
So I'm kind of screwed at the moment, but
What? Hmm, that is kind of a an issue there. You know, a walker going up the
especially because
stairs.
I still have this wound. And like normally when I would leave here, they would have home health come and, you know, to tend to this wound still.
Uh huh.
But if I have to go back to living in my van, I can't have them come there and do it. It's not going to happen. So I'm a little worried about all that. But
Well, the reason I bring this up is because the next article I'm talking about, it might be a breakout year for Bigfoot.
ah,
This might be the year. Every once in a while, you have these cryptids or ghosts or UFOs that get like massive sightings. It's like out of nowhere. It's just boom, boom, boom. So far, we're at the tail end. This article came out a couple weeks ago. I put it off to the side because I wanted to save it for something like this. I get a lot of people I'm sending links to, and they're telling me the attachment says it's unavailable, so I'm resending it. But already we're at 1,283 sightings of Bigfoot in 2024.
wow.
That is, and some of these are. There are reports from police officers. There are reports from game wardens. Maybe because I don't know. I don't know.
Now, there was a Bigfoot Facebook group that I belong to,
Uh huh.
and someone posted a picture of a footprint.
A
And
footprint.
yeah, and I was just like, it was bullshit. I caught right off the bat, and other people commented too that it was bullshit. Like, what? It was too perfect. If that makes sense, it was too perfect.
Uh huh. You say it was
And
too perfect, so it could have been hoaxed.
and yeah, and the bottom of it was perfectly flat.
Let me see if I
Like you know
can.
how we have an arch in our foot.
Right.
A Bigfoot's going to tend to have at least somewhat of an arch and some kind of, not perfectly flat like a board.
I like how you're the Bigfoot expert. Can you send me a link to this or send me the photo so we can take a look at this?
Let me see if I can find it.
Bubba is our resident Bigfoot believer. And I personally don't believe in it because I think, and there is my favorite buddy, my favorite listener, Adam. What's going on, buddy? I don't believe in Bigfoot. I really don't. Because I think at some point, you would have found a body. But I don't know. There's sometimes I'm sitting there wondering, could it be what we're seeing is some type of misidentification or is something like that? I don't know. Let's see how I can find this. What do you, while you're searching for that, what do you think Bigfoot? Do you think Bigfoot's legitimate?
I honestly do. Obviously we need more proof. Um, but I think there's way too many sightings and way too much for it to be everything for it to be hoax.
I don't know. I don't know.
I
I
mean, now,
mean,
all right, say you go into the forest where it's hundreds of miles in the middle of nowhere
uh-huh.
and you find a Bigfoot print. Why would someone hoax that in a place where humans don't normally even go? What are the chances of that a human actually does find that you hoax?
I don't
It's
know.
just,
Have you ever heard? So I know you're a big Bigfoot fan. I know you want there to be Bigfoot. Have you ever heard of the Sierra Mountains recordings of 1971?
I'm sure I probably have.
I'm I'm gonna play it if I can find it. Play it for the audience here. Hang on a minute. Okay, so the Sierra Mountains recording, I think it's like what? It's the first audio recording of Bigfoot. It was recorded in 1971. These two guys. Let me look this up so I can get all the facts. I like to get my facts straight on this show. I don't like to put out like no, I'm not CNN. Bigfoot sounds. Okay, here we go. The Sierra Sounds, the voices of Sasquatch. That's a podcast. Whoops. Whoops. Uh Sounds Wikipedia. Here we go. The two hunters doing a documentary were believed to have caught audio of a group of Sasquatch nearby in the downward slopes of the Sierra Mountains. The authenticity of the Sasquatch Sierra Sounds by Rob Moorhead and Al Berry is a subject of debate within the Bigfoot research community. Some believe that the recordings are genuine and provide evidence of Sasquatch vocalizations, while others are more skeptical and consider them a hoax. It's important to approach such claim with a critical mindset, as I normally do, and consider the perspectives of experts in the field of cryptozoology and audio analysts. So these are recorded. These are the first supposed recorded sounds of Bigfoot. And a lot of people say they are legit. A lot of people say they are authentic. You want to hear them real quick?
Yeah.
All right, let's play this. We're going to possibly hear what Bigfoot sounds like. Okay. Now, there was an intro right here. I had to skip ahead. They were talking about what they were doing up there. So here we go.
71 when I first started hearing them, and we started recording them.
All right, here's the sound.
There's two of them across the creek at the big rocks.
Now, that sounds more like an owl, but that part right there sounded really weird. That sounds like a person saying something.
Yeah.
You hear that?
And
Listen.
the one at the beginning to me sounded like it really could be.
That one sounds like a gibbon, just a very large, deep gibbon. But gibbons aren't. I don't think gibbons exist in North America.
All right.
Here, listen to this again. This is the one I think sounds like a person. Listen. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, it sounds weird.
But see, like,
Now that sounds like a gorilla right there, like a
but see,
big
like,
gorilla.
how do you really know what a Bigfoot sounds like?
That's the thing is like
Unless you
this
were
was
standing right in front of it and heard it come and see it come straight from a Bigfoot, how do you really know what they sound like?
that's the
I
thing.
know what they believe they sound like, but
This was the first recording. This is supposedly the first recording of Bigfoot vocalization, but it sounds there's some parts to it that sound very unusual, very like, it sounds like a legitimate creature. Don't get me wrong. Whatever it is, it's definitely a biological organism. But it sounds very at some points it sounds very weird, like, oh, that sounds like an animal, but what animal would make that? But then there's parts where it sounds like it could be a person or audio from something else being distorted. I don't know.
yeah.
That sounds like. Let's see. Let's see this part here. I'll go back to that part there. That kind of like gibbon noise. That's really unusual. It sounds like a very large owl almost, but I can't think of any owl that would make that kind of noise. So I mean, that's really weird. Really weird.
Well, I've sent you a couple things that's from that
Yeah,
Bigfoot Believers group.
Okay, so here's the photo you're talking about. Oh, I can tell you right now. I can tell you right now. There's the photo Bubba is talking about with Bigfoot. I can't make it any bigger. Yeah, that's too fake.
It's too perfectly shaped.
Yes.
Like I said, it's completely flat on the bottom.
And
even if a Bigfoot walks, its foot's gonna bend, and it's still, even if the Bigfoot's foot was perfectly flat, it's still gonna bend as it walks and make some kind of an indentation differently.
I look at this and I'm just like, you're right. It's too perfect. It's way too perfect. Like, it just looks like a cutout. They just stamped it in the ground. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, sorry, I don't believe in this one, but you did send one more. What is this one you sent me? What in the hell?
This is interesting.
What the hell is this? A Bigfoot toe. What is what is a Bigfoot toe? What is this, Bubba?
I don't know. I mean,
it's obviously it looks like it's something you could probably buy online, I'm gonna guess.
I mean, if you zoom in on it, I mean, it could be. I don't know. I mean,
I don't. Well, unfortunately, I can't zoom in any further, and it looks like something you could buy. I mean, the guy's literally saying in here too. It's like, it finally arrived, my Bigfoot toe. Man, you are a hardcore Bigfoot fan, aren't you?
I'm just saying, I don't know. It probably isn't real, but if so, if it is real, who the frick cut off how'd they get a Bigfoot's toe?
I'm pretty sure if someone had found a Bigfoot, let's say if they found a Bigfoot corpse and they took the toe off of it, I think the last thing they're gonna do is sell it online. I think they're gonna try and take it and, hey, I found Bigfoot, and they're gonna be made famous. They're gonna be made famous. There is evidence in the fossil record. You've heard of Gastropithecus, correct?
Yeah.
That is what some people think Bigfoot is. It's the last it's the last like Neanderthal before man appeared.
Basically,
And
people believe it's the missing link. You know, and
I've heard
that
that
could be,
one too, yeah.
that could be a good explanation. But I just think, one, I believe that they're intelligent. Um, Granted, not as intelligent as an actual human being, but still intelligent. I think they're
Right.
intelligent enough to stay away from people as much as possible because they don't want to be seen. Um, they stay, in their element, in the woods where, most people aren't out, you know.
I
Um,
well, I mean, and
I
another
think there's a
go ahead.
chance that they bury their dead,
They could
and
eat
that's
it.
why you don't just find dead bodies laying around.
I know Dan from your show, Morning Disaster, he had a good point. And maybe they're cannibalistic. Maybe they eat their dead. And plus, if a Bigfoot, let's say for example, a Bigfoot drops dead in the forest, animal predation is going to get a hold of it. Scavengers are going to get a hold of it. Have you ever
Oh
found
yeah,
a complete deer carcass?
yeah.
I have
Just
found,
bugs alone could eat a carcass, quick.
yeah. I mean, let's see. I'm trying to bring up. Let's see. I
A
want a
lot
picture of
quicker than
this.
what you would think, too.
Oh yeah, it's like dinner time for them. So, okay. So for those who are wondering, who are listening to the show, here is, if I can make this bigger. Please let me make this bigger. No, it won't. Google used to let you be. Google used to be so easy to work with. All right. On the left, of course, you see a human skull right here on this photo here.
All right.
Let's see if I can actually just click the article. Maybe it'll make it bigger. Looking for, there it is. All right, so on the left you see the human skull, and on the right you see Gastropithecus. Okay, that is a lot of people believe that what Bigfoot is perhaps either a descendant of Gastropithecus or Gastropithecus itself. I mean, it was an ape that existed in North America. And I think it died out like 2,900,000 years ago, like right at the tail end of the last ice age. I think that's when it
But,
went.
also, they're still finding, every now and then, they'll find animals that they believe were extinct.
Oh
So
yeah,
just because they say it was extinct, that doesn't mean it still can't be around.
they're the big thing right now in the crypto world is Thylacine, which is a Tasmanian tiger, and Megatherium, which are giant ground sloths. They believe there is a population of these. I forget. I think the Tasmanian tigers are in Papua New Guinea, but the giant sloths, the Megatherium, they're being reported more and more down in actual South America. And the theory is, it's like these things are like Tasmanian tiger. I forget how it went extinct, but the giant ground sloth is a Pleistocene mammal, so it was around during the Ice Age. There's a lot of people who are saying that the reason they're popping up is because of the fires they had down in the Amazon years ago. So, let's see. Tasmanian tiger, when did it go extinct? Tasmanian tiger went extinct back in the year 2000. New analysis of the date, September 7th, 1936, was when the last Tasmanian tiger took his final breath at the zoo in Hobart. They now believe there's a small population existing. Let me show you this Megatherium thing they're talking about. This thing is gnarly, and this is the one they think more than likely could be a living creature and still alive today. because I would not want to deal with these. Let's see here. All right, so here is the skeleton, the fossil. There you go. Look at the size of this guy. This guy, here's a better one. Here's a better one for you. Here's a graph. There's a graph right there. That is a normal human being, so someone my height or your height, and that's how big the Megatherium was.
Yeah.
That thing would make your Bigfoot, that would make your short-faced bears, that would make mincemeat of them. And these things went extinct towards the end of the Ice Age, but they believe there might be a population of them down in South America, and there are more and more reports from scientists, from researchers, from local tribes who claim they come across them all the time. I mean, these things...
At that size, though, it's awful hard to hide.
It
Other
would.
than being out, again, like in the wooded area where man doesn't really go. You know,
Yeah.
it's...
Well, with something like South America, it's a lot more believable that something could hide out there. You know, with North America, you have so much... I hate to say it because I love nature, but we've peeled back so much of nature to the point where we don't have as many hiding spots for things like, you know,
Well,
monsters
we
and
do it
ghosts.
in Washington State. There's a lot of wooded area that people don't go in. There's Montana has a lot of space that's not used, you know. And then you get up to Alaska and into Canada.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much wooded area that just man has probably never seen man.
There, I will give you that. I will give you that. There is a lot of Alaska and Canada. Like here's a graph. I wish I need to just start downloading these or make my screen. I need to know how to make my screen bigger. Rob knows how to do this stuff. This is a graph of everything we have yet to explore in the United States, or we have explored, but we haven't been there long. So obviously, you got all your major city areas, okay, but then you have these areas here, according to this key here, the little blue represents areas that there's not much civilization at. You see this like divide down the middle.
Yeah,
where
see that only 1% of the population.
The blue counties contain 42% of U.S. land, but only 1% of the population. I will give it, there could be something in those areas, yes, but
especially look at Montana.
I don't even care about Montana. Look at Alaska.
Montana,
look at Alaska.
Yep.
Alaska just has one area there.
Well, think about it. You know, I don't care, but you got to be a dumbass to live in Alaska. The summer is all right, but to live there in the wintertime, that's friggin' nuts.
I know. People love it. People love it. People love living in Alaska.
It's beautiful. It's, you know, everything you could want, but that's too cold for me. Illinois is too cold for me.
Well, I mean, we're talking about well, it's warming up, you know, but we're talking about new species, you know, in areas they could hide at, right?
Yeah.
So the other day they discovered a brand new, we were talking about you know, hiding areas. They found a brand new species, a gigantic new species of snake in the Amazon rainforest.
I heard something about a new species of anaconda.
That's what this is. It's an anaconda. The scientists working in the Amazon rainforest have discovered a new species of snake rumored to be the biggest in the world. So all this talk about, you know, like there's the big snakes out there that could eat people whole. That's been the theory for a long time. This guy could perhaps be it. A team at the University of Queensland traveled to the Ecuadorian Amazon to search for the previously undocumented northern green anaconda, or Uincentis akiyama, following an invitation from the Warani people to observe anacondas rumored to be the largest in existence. The teams, let's see. All right, here we go. The size of these magnificent creatures was incredible. One female anaconda was measured to be an astounding 20 point. I'm going to put this in metric, 6.3 meters or 20.7 feet long. 20 feet long. Are you fucking serious?
Now, here's something to put into perspective. You ever watch that show Swamp People?
Yes.
Where, they catch the alligators?
Yes.
They also have that Swamp People serpent invasion. So they go down at a specific time to Florida and they hunt the python that are loose now, that they say a lot of it was from hurricanes, could have hit like some sort of pet store that had a bunch of pythons in it, things like that.
Uh-huh.
But they grow and populate so quickly. And they're eating like all the small mammals.
Well, the one theory is that they were released from a pet store, or the other one was that they were exotic animals that were released, because that's happened before.
Oh yeah,
exotic pets, yeah.
And there's people that have them, and they get too big for people, and they, instead of getting rid of it the way they should, they just turn it loose.
Right.
But it said that those snakes reach their sexual maturity in 4 years.
4 years.
And that snakes, the ones that they've caught, they have cut them open. And the one just this last week had 69 eggs in it.
Wow. Let's see. Invasive snakes in Florida. Here we go. What species of snake is
one,
this?
I kid you not, this snake was 14 to 15 foot long.
According to this,
in Florida.
The snakes that you're talking about are the Burmese pythons.
Yes.
Dude, Florida's.
And they showed it. That thing was literally that big around. The girl that caught it, one of the two girls that caught it, she's like, this thing is the size of my thigh. Literally.
Wow.
But 14 foot long. So now they're finding anacondas that are 20 foot long. That's a monster of a snake.
I mean, you're talking about releasing a snake like that, a Burmese python, in the middle of the Florida Everglades, where it's just, it's the perfect environment. That's why, I mean, the only predator it could have to contend with would be an alligator.
Or bear. There are some bears in Florida.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they don't really have any predators, and they're eating, like I said, all these different birds. They'll eat rabbits, raccoons, squirrels, anything small they can get a hold of. People's dogs. And they were talking about one literally had a whole deer inside of it.
Oh, jeez. Look at this. Removing pythons in Florida. Members of the public may capture and humanely kill non-native reptiles like Burmese pythons.
Yep.
That is the same situation, that they're going through the same situation with these snakes as some states are with the wild pigs.
You can actually get paid for every snake that you catch. And like, if you find a snake, especially that's laying on eggs, by law, you have to kill or get rid of those eggs.
Dude.
So that they don't hatch.
How much do you think you would get paid for capturing or killing snakes? How much do you get paid for, just if you were to go out there in the woods with a gun? How much do you get paid? You get paid for killing a snake?
I don't know. Some of them, I think they're saying, it depends on the size. The bigger, the better. But But also, like
Corey.
one guy is taking them and he skins them, and then you got snake skin for boots, and he was making
Mm.
wallets out of it, all kinds of stuff that you could make out of snake skin. And then he's now got with like a really good chef, and they're now selling the meat from these pythons.
Oof.
But
Have
there's
you
something about the meat is like it's like really tough. So
have you
they have
ever
to like tenderize it in a way to make it
uh
so they can eat it. And on the show they showed her uh she had this tool that just punctured a bunch of holes in the meat.
have you
And
ever
then
had
she fried it up and made snake tacos out of it.
have you ever had snake? Have you ever
Yeah, I
ate
have.
I my
I would try it.
a buddy of mine, he I went down to Texas, like this is like
Hey
back in
Corey.
2000, this is like back in 2014. I went down and he had snake. He brought it out, he cut the head off, he pulled the spine out, and he just threw it on the fire. And I'm like, well, how do you eat this? He goes, just like shish kebab.
Yeah.
Once you get past the scales, it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. I've never had it, authentically cooked. Obviously the way he cooked it was, very
Yeah,
redneck-ish.
like when you see that show Naked and Afraid, they'll sometimes catch snakes and they skin it, wrap it around a tree branch and hold it over the fire until it's cooked.
That's
And there's
that's
still bones in it, so you got to kind of pick at it.
how
But
uh-huh.
I would eat it.
Yeah. It wasn't
And I
too
know
bad.
that Humphrey's Meat Market there in Springfield,
Shout out to Humphrey's Meat Market.
they told me one time that they were getting rattlesnake meat in, but it was going to be expensive though. But
I bet it would be expensive, yeah. Or just get Burmese python. Just get Burmese meat. I mean, you got so much of it down there at the coast. Well, on to our next story for the night. I was talking earlier about how we're supposed to get some pretty strong storms Tuesday. I don't want any.
and
I
then
don't
it's
want
going
it.
to get cold.
It's going to get cold Wednesday here in Central Illinois, and then Thursday it warms back up. I personally think spring is here. I think for once in a long time, that groundhog actually got it freaking right. Well, we might actually be in for a stronger storm year than we've had previously. And we were talking the other day, last week on the show, they were talking about raising the hurricane categories from category 5 to category 6.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, unusually high temperatures combined with the abatement of the El Nino Southern Oscillation could aid in the formation of extreme hurricanes this year. The Atlantic's Hurricane Alley is already experiencing summer temperatures despite it only being February, and the unprecedented temperatures could be bad news for upcoming storm season, researchers are saying. Since March of 2023, average sea surface temperatures around the world have hit record-shattering highs and are still climbing. This is ominous. Ocean heating is being driven by accelerating global warming and the El Nino climate pattern. I think that is a dangerous combination. El Nino and global warming. Oof.
Yeah. See, on here, it's saying tomorrow, 73 for a high with the low of 56.
Uh-huh. Oh, be beautiful.
Tuesday, 77 for a high and a low of 26.
Yep.
So it's going to drop 50 degrees.
And once you get that temperature drop, that's usually not a good sign. A temperature drop that massive is usually not a good sign. I think, are you looking on the Weather Channel?
No, I'm actually on Channel 20's weather app.
I don't know like how it's going to play out. Weather Channel is saying the rain, they've already got, severe weather alert or whatever you want to call it. Not the official warning
Yeah.
or whatnot, but they're just saying watch the weather on Tuesday.
Well, it was originally saying on here that, possibly strong storms and that. And now it's saying winds 15 to 25 miles per hour, higher wind gusts possible during the day. And then for the evening, partly cloudy in the evening, then becoming cloudy and windy after midnight. A few flurries or snow showers possible.
Oh, come on. No, I'm done. I want spring. I want 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s.
But yeah, snow showers possible on a day that's going to be a high of 77.
It's going to be a weird day. It's going to be a weird day. That's
But
the
it
day
says nothing about strong storms now.
Yeah, that's
Like
interesting.
they took that out of the forecast.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday, high of 38 with the low of 23. And it's supposed to be windy and a few snow flurries or snow showers possible on Wednesday. But then Thursday, 47, Friday, 53, Saturday, 64, Sunday, 70. So it's, goes back up. But
yeah, I know that people are saying like, if you ever watch the weather, the robins always return right before it gets warm and hot out. And if anybody's noticed, the robins are technically back. They're outside chirping, they were outside chirping this morning when I got to go to work. So
these birds are so friggin' confused. The geese keep going both ways.
I haven't seen the geese flying both ways. I've seen them flying to sources of water. I haven't really seen them fly south or north yet. But I don't know. I tell you, the weather is messed up. I mean, anyone who wants to sit there and say global warming is not a thing, I think it's legitimate. It's legitimate. So I think the way we're trying to treat it is wrong, but it's legitimate. So,
I mean, I've heard people saying that in the next 20 years or so, it could get high summer temperatures like 120 or something even.
Well,
I don't know that it's necessarily going to get that high or anything, but
I don't know if it will either, because I remember in the early 90s when they were talking about global warming and it became mainstream, and you had like Al Gore's what was it, A Convenient Truth or something like that. They kept saying by 2000, like 2002, 2003, New York would be submerged, all that stuff. I think their calculations might have been off, because here it is, 2020. Granted, we do hear about how New York loses like a centimeter a year to water, but I swear, I thought for a second there was a ghost down here in the basement. I was going to cut the show and start ghost hunting. No, it's my fiance. Scared the shit out of me. I'm on the show. What's up? I can't pause. Hang on a second, Bubba.
All right.
She wants me to carry her beads down. She's like, "Can you pause? This is not a video game. This is not a movie. I can't pause." She's mouthing at me from behind the door. She's like, "I didn't know." Oh shit! I love her to death. I do. I love her to death.
So you guys are engaged. You guys got a wedding date set yet, or?
Well, we're trying to get some money saved up first off. We're looking at maybe next year or 2006, depending on how
2006.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking of.
Then you're already married.
Well, technically we are. We're married. We've been together. We've been together since 2016. Yeah, it's been since 2016.
But you said 2006.
Or no,
That's
no. I messed
way
up.
long ago.
We've been together since 2016. We're looking at maybe 2005 or 2026 to I messed up again. Didn't I just say 2005? We're
Yep.
looking at either next year or 2026 as the year to get married. I cannot talk tonight because I am savoring Burmese python meat. I don't know. I can't talk. The other day on my show, I forgot I was 39. I was thinking I was 37, and I'm like, what in the hell? Am I getting dementia? What is this? Start calling me Joe Biden here after a while.
Right.
All right, let me get another article here. All right, so this is really interesting. Have you heard about the alien gold that has been discovered? The alien treasure.
No.
Bring this article up, and then you and I can discuss it. Strange alien metal discovered in ancient Iberian treasure trove. Discovered more than 60 years ago in modern-day Asalante in Spain, the treasure of Vilinia consists of a cache of 66 valuable treasures, most of them gold, representing evidence of the Bronze Age goldsmithing skills of the people of the Liberian Peninsula around 3,000 years ago.
It does look nice.
It does. It's some serious craftsmanship they had there. Two of the objects, however, have long puzzled researchers. A single torque-like bracelet with a small hollow hemisphere that would have been part of a scepter or hilt of a sword. These anomalous additions seem to have been made of more than just iron and gold. Now, according to a new study headed by Salvador Rovira Leons, former head of conservation at the National Archaeological Museum of Spain, the reason these two objects have been so difficult to date is because they contain iron that has not originated from the ground, but from space. Outer space.
Well, I mean, think about it. Do you really think Earth is the only place that could contain gold?
In other words, they were created from materials found in a meteorite. The realization of what means is that two anomalous objects were likely created around the same time as the other treasures, despite the apparent dating inconsistencies. So, what is the... I gotta look this up. There is a sword. Okay, so the Sword of Attila, also called the Sword of Mars. You've heard of this. Attila the Hun.
Yeah.
Rumor has it his sword was forged from a meteorite when it fell to Earth.
Huh.
He found a meteorite, he took a chunk out of it and forged the sword. Let me pull this one up so we can see it. So something like this, it's not unheard of. The Roman historian Jordes, quoting the work of historian Priscius, gave the story of its origin. When a certain shepherd beheld one heifer of his flock limping and could find no cause for the wound, he anxiously followed the trail in length and came to a sword it had unwittingly trampled while nibbling the grass. So this talks about how the sword was discovered. The rumor is that the sword was the meteorite fell to Earth, and Attila found it, took it, and had a sword forged out of it. When Attila died, the sword was also known the Sword of Attila, also called the Sword of Mars and the Sword of God. It's supposed to be a legendary weapon. It's kind of like some people look at it as it's got the blessing of the gods, like the spear of Longinus, the spear that supposedly pierced the side of Christ.
Yeah.
That's what they believe. So the real historical events, the discovery of this sword will probably remain unknown. The sword has never been found. Well, this article is like 10 years old. Maybe it's been found by now. Maybe it's found by
Well,
now.
and that meteorite had to have come from somewhere.
Right. Could you imagine?
And I don't know, maybe a meteorite or something hit, just say Mars, and
Right.
another piece, when it hits, pieces are going to fly out into space.
Yeah.
It could travel here, and then you find it, and hey, it's got, material minerals that are similar to what we have, but maybe a little different, or there may even be some of the same materials. I don't know.
Well,
Obviously, some planets, what's it, Saturn or Jupiter, that are basically made of gas.
yeah.
Uh, Obviously, a piece of that's not going to necessarily break off, but
The laws of conservation and mass would deny that, I believe. The idea of forming gas into a sword. Although that'd be a pretty cool sword to have. Can you imagine? You're walking around town. Oh, that's a nice watch. Where'd you get it from? I forged it from a meteorite. It's got to be like high class. That's got to be like the gods gave me this watch. It dropped from the heavens. And you mentioned, the possibility it could have been an extraterrestrial metal. I mean, iron's pretty abundant in space. So,
I mean, like I said, who's to say that gold is only found on Earth?
oh no, gold is there. Large amounts of gold they believe come from space. Here, I'll show you. That's why I need someone to do this. Let's see. Gold.
And aliens, if there's gold in space, aliens could have, access to it. For
They
all we
could.
know, I mean,
Maybe their ships are made of some kind of like polished down, compressed gold or something like that. Let's see here. I'll bring this up on the page so it can. All right.
although you never hear about like spaceships or from, having that gold color to it.
No, but that could
But
be because they're entering atmospheres or something like that, and it burns
but
that coloring off.
we also use gold in electronics. Like
Yeah.
all cell phones have gold in them.
Oh yeah. There's a.
So maybe they use it the same way.
Have you heard of gold recycling?
Yes.
It's the process where people will go out and find junk TVs, junk computers, junk video game consoles, anything electronic. They'll take the gold out of it, clean it with chemicals, melt the gold down. They'll get a solid gold nugget.
Yep. That's why your old phone, as damaged as it is still worth money because of the gold.
Yep. Gold is thought to have been produced in a supernova nucleosynthesis and from the collision of neutron stars, and to have been present in the dust from which the solar system was formed. Can gold be made in space? Gold is not made inside stars, but on the outside during the last death row. So, Chris, we get to know each other more.
So some gold could come from space at some
right. The theory is that most of Earth's gold deposits come from space through years of once the planet was forming and cooling. Meteorite impacts would have planted more gold into the planet, and that's why we have so much of it. So, that's the belief. So, all right. Let's get to 2 more articles. Let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to some UFO shit. Let's get to some UFO.
Well, hey, real quick before you start that,
Okay.
I do want to ask you, what do you think of this company that just landed on the moon?
Oh, and
Since
how
we're kind of talking about space.
Yeah, for those who don't know, it was like what it was literally, I think, the same day as the solar flare. That was a freaky ass day. The lunar module. It was a drone. It was a drone control module, correct?
No, it's got people on it.
Oh, really? That does? Hang on a minute.
And it landed on Mars. And from what I'm gathering, it actually tipped over.
Let's see.
And they had lost communication with the people on it. And when it landed, but someone said something like, "We're not dead yet."
I don't know. This is the first I've heard of it.
And I don't know if they ever got connection back to them or what, or how they're going to even get back if the thing tipped over. If,
All right, here we go.
maybe it's light enough up there they can put it back up. I don't know, but
The company's name is Intuitive Machines. Their share dropped in after hours trading Friday when the company's Odyssey lunar lander tipped over when it landed on the moon's surface. The extreme stock, Intuitive and NASA held up. Odysseus, yeah. Intuitive and NASA held a news conference on Friday evening. The lander is stable near or at the intended landing site. Let's see. Altemis said the craft was going to be 25,000 miles in orbit and landed at about 6 miles an hour with a horizontal speed of about 2 miles an hour, a comfortable walking pace. The company believes one of the lander's feet was caught on something, and that's what caused it tipping over. Indeed,
and it also landed on the south pole of the moon.
Oh, really?
Which we have never been to before.
Huh.
And this is a private company. NASA wasn't behind this, although NASA's monitoring it.
Really? I'm not seeing anything in this article about what's going on, Francie. I'm not seeing anything in this article about people being in it.
Yes.
That's maybe, let's see. Let's go down a little more. Data from the fuel tank is what led to Intuitive's team to conclude that the lander tipped over. Odyssey is carrying 12 payloads that will gather data and conduct scientific experiments. So it's a drone. Okay, it's a drone. Intuitive stock was down 32%. Let's see. Yeah, it's just a drone. It's like the Mars rover type thing. That's what it is. So, but I know for a fact people are going to be like, dude, it's a conspiracy. There's people in there, Space Marines or something like that,
Was there people on Odysseus?
Are there people on Odysseus? I don't know. I do not see. I'm not seeing anything on there being people on Odysseus.
Oh, see, that's just come up with a bunch of.
See. Yeah, but it landed on the moon. And it did it. That's the first time we have landed on the moon. The U.S. has actually landed something on the moon since 1972.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to a couple of UFO news stories, and then we'll bounce out of here for a night. So it's been a very slow couple weeks since the big reveal. Members of Congress and the Senate being taken and debriefed on what they're claiming are extraterrestrial vehicles, or as they're calling them now, like interdimensional creatures, interdimensional vehicles. So since then, news has been very, very slow in regards to UFOs and whatnot. But there's two stories of interest I want to talk about tonight. The first one: do you believe UFOs are a threat?
I don't know if they're a threat necessarily. But again, I don't know. It could be.
Well, according to this gentleman here, Eric Hosteline, he's a PhD. He believes that the danger of UFOs is not what you think. Our psychological response to the unfamiliar holds the real threat. So, from what I'll read a little bit about this, okay? A present day example of let's see, let's go on this one. I knew of an intelligent officer who decades ago returned from the field with strong evidence that an adversary might be employing extremely unorthodox techniques to mask their activities. When he presented his suspicions to superiors, the response was, "Keep your theories to yourself. That's so bizarre. The giggle factor will destroy your reputation." This giggle factor applied to any such topics such as UFOs, extrasensory perception, or far out theories that were removed from normal experience. That serious intelligence professionals would snicker at. Okay. So the argument here he is making, the real danger in UFOs is not so much their existence. Hey, Suze, how you doing? It's not so much on the possibility a UFO could exist. It's the real threat is how the public would look at you.
Yeah.
And
I see that.
I agree. That is, I mean, I sit here, you and I both know Ray Lytle, and we both know that we could sit here and talk about Bigfoot and ghosts till, the cows come home and they legitimately become real. He'll never believe it. He's always going to make fun of us over it.
Yeah.
Obviously, someone like Ray, he's just joking. He's not going to hit us really hard with it. Some people out there would hit you hard about it. Some people, oh, you believe in that UFOs? Get the hell out of here. That was no UFO. You're just crazy, And that's why a lot of UFO sightings go unreported. It's because people don't want to be labeled as, hey, I'm the crazy guy who saw the UFOs, or hey, I'm this, hey, I'm that. No. They don't want to reveal it because of the simple fact that they're afraid.
Well, it's always been talked about like that they wouldn't release that kind of information because they're just afraid of mass hysteria from the people on Earth,
Right.
But I kind of think that wouldn't happen now. I think people are ready to know. I think they're, there's so many sightings, and I just think they're ready for it.
I don't know if people are ready for it. I think, again, I'm not trying to get political. I don't think the world is ready. I think
before I die, I would love to hear, hey, aliens are real.
Oh, I would
They're
agree.
Here, I think that would just be the ultimate thing.
I would agree. I think, like, well, hell, 2020, the U.S. government actually acknowledged the existence of UFOs. They actually said, we're aware of them. And the problem is, and this is one of the problems I have, and this is why I don't think the Earth is ready for it, is because something like that, the government saying, yes, UFOs are real, should have been front page. Instead, what was front page? Trump, Biden, COVID. How is that more important than the possible answer to, are we alone in the universe? I don't get it. I think the Earth needs to get some stuff worked out. I think we need to drop the political dogma, the religious dogma, the social dogma, and all that. We need to drop these wars.
Well, that's what's going to happen too. Is if they say the aliens are real, that's going to, I think, have a big impact on religion more than anything.
See, and that's what some people like, Rob, I love Rob to death. He's always like, yeah, they'll release it, but it'll destroy religion. I
don't know that it'll destroy religion, but I think it's gonna.
I know
it's gonna make a lot think differently.
I know people that are very religious. I'm a Mormon. I'm a member of the Mormon faith. I grew up Mormon. I believe in it. I don't practice it that much. I smoke like a chimney. I drink like a fish, and I swear like a sailor. But I still technically practice it, just not as good.
And personally, I'm not religious at all.
Right. Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm the type, I mean, I don't believe in God, but I don't necessarily disbelieve in it either.
You're agnostic.
I have no proof.
Corey says it.
I say I'm a man of science. I go on proof, physical proof.
Right.
Just because stuff's written in a book doesn't make it true. That author could be a liar for all I know. I mean, I want proof.
Corey says, I don't think it will destroy it. It would probably strengthen it. It probably would. The Bible does say in several verses, and I am going to have to find all the verses so I can talk about these next time we're on a show with Rob. But the Bible says in many verses that that we are not alone in the universe, that God created other worlds. There are several verses that describe that. Just as much as there are people who think there are several verses that describe dinosaurs. You talk to some religious people, then you ask them, what's a dinosaur? Okay. My religion, they were an experiment that God had, and they didn't go anywhere for the longest time, so God ended them. And other religions, they're like, the dinosaurs, they don't exist. Those are the fossils of demons, or that jackass I watched a video on the Best Damn Podcast a few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
I hated that. I hated that. I almost every podcast I've done for the past few weeks has been a horrendous, stress-filled, and I'm trying to quit smoking and quit, doing weed. Damn it, come on now.
And I just found where a Harvard, okay, we all know Harvard. A Harvard expert claims that meteor that struck the Pacific Ocean may have extraterrestrial origins.
The one that killed the dinosaurs.
It says it is possible that aliens are behind the arrival of certain space rocks that have crashed onto Earth from outer space.
Send this to me. Let's see this.
It's on that one thing that you don't get. That one news thing that you don't have the app for.
Well, go ahead. Keep reading then.
Harvard University astronomy professor Avi Loeb suggests that some space rocks crashing onto Earth might have extraterrestrial origins. He points to a meteor that impacted the Pacific Ocean a decade ago, claiming it contains materials not of earthly origin and possibly dating back billions of years.
What's this professor's name again?
Avi Loeb, Loeb. It says, while critics argued the materials could be human produced, coal ash, Loeb cites analysis from these three separate labs revealing unique metallic spheres unlike anything found on our planet. These findings include the presence of unfamiliar elements such as beryllium, lanthanum, and uranium in a distinct formation, hint at the possibility of an artificially created meteorite from another civilization.
Wow. So, according to this gentleman, because I actually had the article here, he believes there's been several, and it's not just the one that landed in the Pacific. He believes there's several.
Right.
That they and were extra. why would the aliens send space rock at us? Doesn't make any sense. Like, I get it. You know, it
I
could
don't
be,
either.
but it's like Corey says, isn't it the plot of Starship Troopers? Maybe they're bugs. Maybe it's just giant space poop or something. I don't know.
What if I mean, all right. You ever heard of like airplanes that fly over and
Oh,
people use the bathroom and they have to dump it every so often? Maybe a space, maybe it's alien poop that they're just dumping out.
I don't think it's alien poop. I do.
It's a theory. I mean, I
You
don't
never
know.
know. You never know. It could be. I don't know. Well, let's get to our last story for tonight. This one I saved the best for last. This is gaining traction all over social media. In the past few hours, it's actually it's this original story came out on the 24th, and it's gaining more and more interest. Now I'm going to show you a picture of a Google Earth image.
Oh,
Okay.
I think I just seen that.
What do you see here? Ignore the ad about the gorgeous space girl. What do you
I just see that?
What do you see here? What do you think? What do you see anything out of the ordinary here? This is off the coast of California.
Oh, that's not what I'm looking at.
Do you see it yet? Chat room.
I see something that looks like it's not necessarily, not necessarily naturally like shaped, but
Right. And get this. There's these like legs underneath here. Okay. Let's go down a little bit. In the sun-drenched expanse of Southern California's coastline, a discovery made in 2014 has transformed the idyllic Malibu from just a paradise beachgoers and nature enthusiasts into a central hub. Now it is gaining more and more traction as several people using Google Earth may have discovered what could be one of the most convincing pieces of evidence yet of alien life on Earth. So, in the vast digital landscape of Google Maps, a tool often used by UFO enthusiasts to scour the Earth for the unusual and unexplained, an intriguing discovery was made among the various peculiar sites identified worldwide. One particular location on Southern California's coast stood out, raising more questions than answered. The alleged underwater base. Now, they're saying this up here is an underwater base, and these legs here are where the craft get out. Okay. This is in Malibu. Of all places, Malibu. What'd you send me?
huh?
You sent me something similar with Antarctica.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the one.
About 400-foot ship-like structure through Google Earth.
Yeah.
In Antarctica.
Now, I don't want to sign up for the newsletters. What's also interesting about the Malibu area, let's see. The puzzling phenomenon theory surrounding the Malibu USO case. The region has long been a hotspot for unusual sightings, with local tourists frequently reporting unexplained lights and objects skimming the water surface, especially around Point Dume, or Point Dume, not Doom, like, Doom. These reports have sparked myriad of theories, the most prominent being the concept of trans-medium travel. This goes back to what Congress said, slipped the other day, where they said it's not extraterrestrial, it's interdimensional. That's kind of like, that might be a possibility there. Suggesting these unidentified objects possess the capability to navigate both air and water, which, if you're going through space, I'm pretty sure you could. While the scientific community remains divided, some researchers lean towards the possibility that these phenomena are not mere coincidences. So the idea is that they've had these UFO sightings, and if I recall, I think there's also like somewhere in that area. I stand corrected. It's not in this area. It's in the Golden Bay area. There's a sea monster that keeps getting reported in the Golden Bay area. But they've had these UFO sightings for years. They've seen them coming out of the water, flying around the air. This
I
Google
mean, you
Earth.
think about it, the ocean would be a great place to hide a big spaceship. I mean,
Oh yeah, we know more about space than we do our own oceans.
exactly.
We know more about space than our own planet. What will be the
And,
best?
and a lot of that is that, there's some really deep places in the ocean.
Oh yeah, the
And then you
Mariana
obviously
Trench.
know, we all know, the deeper you go, the more pressure there is.
Yep.
Being, what happened to the people that went down to see the Titanic?
Yep.
The ship got crushed like a soda can.
Yeah, it was that
You
was
know,
horrible.
that makes it hard to go down to these deep areas of the ocean. But if
Right.
you got an alien ship that can withstand that pressure, that's a perfect place to hide.
Well, the pressure in space, I believe, is 10 times greater than the pressure in water. So if an alien spacecraft could traverse through space, surely it could also traverse through the oceans. But I
You
will
would think.
I will say this Google Earth image, first of all, I have a couple questions. Number one, how did they get this exact image? That means somebody had to be aware of this structure. And number two, how come this just popped up now when this photo was taken back in 2014 and now it's regaining popularity? What is it because like we're actively searching more and more for UFO stuff because of the UAP thing going on in Congress? Space is a
That
vacuum, water is present.
that
Okay, so
is
I'm
possible.
wrong. I'm wrong. Sorry, Corey. Thank you for correcting me. Thank you for correcting me. So, I mean, it is possible, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of people who have used Google Earth to find things like there's supposedly a craft up in the Arctic. It looks, if you ever look at the actual, let me find the actual, the one you just sent, that's one. Let's see.
That one is near Antarctica.
Yeah, there's another one. There is one that's very well known. And some people say if you look at the actual picture of it, it looks like the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, it does. It looks like here's an art. It looks like the Millennium Falcon, or it looks like something out of Star Trek. So here is an artist drawing. I gotta figure out where it's from. That's what they say it is. They were doing sonar pings up in the Arctic. The Baltic Sea anomaly. That's what it is. I just saw it. It's the Baltic Sea anomaly. So they were doing sonar pings under the water, and that's when one of these radar pings came back with this object shape. And first thing that raced through their mind was spaceship, obviously, because I mean,
Yeah. I
look
mean,
at it. So
that doesn't mean that's what it is, but that would be what came to my mind first.
see anomaly. Let me pull up the actual. Here it is. If I can make it bigger. Okay, here we go. I can make this bigger. Thank you, Wikipedia. Here's the Baltic Sea anomaly. That is the actual radar glip of this anomaly.
It's obviously something,
Yeah.
and it's obviously
Here, hang on a sec. Go ahead and keep talking. I'll be back. I'm sorry.
not natural, or it wouldn't be that like perfect circle around. That just doesn't happen in nature. Just as right angles don't necessarily happen in nature. It's uh, wow. What do you think, Corey? I mean, The only other thing it would look like to me is like a tree stump that had been cut. Uh, but if it's in the Baltic Sea, it's not a tree stump.
Sorry about that. I had to go to the bathroom. I had to go.
I
I'm
was just
sorry.
talking about, shapes like this don't just happen in nature. That's too perfect of a circle.
Yeah. Now
Unless it looks like a tree stump that had been cut.
I could see
But
the tree
but
stump
if
argument.
it's in the Baltic Sea, it's obviously not a tree stump.
Right. Could it be maybe something from an ancient civilization? I don't know. I don't think anybody's really went down there yet. That's the big thing. I don't think anybody's really went down there to see, like,
Yeah, I don't know how deep that is, or
just being giant petrified trees. I've seen that theory. Yeah, some of those, like, what was it? Devil's Tower, I think, or it's the one in Wyoming. Let's see, anomaly. Let's see. I'm gonna look up real quick. Anyone visited the Baltic Sea anomaly? The Baltic Sea anomaly is a distinct sonar. Let's see, Ocean X was the ones who discovered it. All right, samples of the Swedish-based Ocean X described themselves as treasure hunters and salvage operators. According to the team, they returned. Let me bring this up so we can read along with me here. They returned from an expedition in the Baltic Sea between Sweden and Finland with a blurry but interesting sonar image while searching for an old shipwreck in the summer of 2011. They claim their image shows a 60-meter. Let's see. The group revisited the site following year to get more detailed sonar scans following a story published by UK tabloid newspaper The Daily Mail. In June 2012, a number of widely speculated theories became popular. Samples of stone recovered at the site by Ocean X were given to, I'm going to butcher this name, Volker Burkett, an associate professor of geology at Stockholm University. Burkett's analysis indicated that they were granites, gneiss, and sandstones. Among the samples was loose piece of basalitic volcanic rock, typical of many on the site, which were out of place on the seafloor, but not unusual because the northern Baltic region is heavily influenced by glacial thawing process. Both the feature and the rock, let's see. So basically, they're saying that what samples they brought back didn't show anything like, pieces of metal or something like that. And let's see. According to scientist Charles Paul, the Monterey Bay Aquarium Institute told Papa Mechanics that the distinctive sonar image was more than likely a rock outcrop. That's a hell of a rock outcrop.
right.
I'm not saying that's not what it is. It could be. Lindenberg suggested in 2019 that there may be a new possibility of an expedition via a television production, which might be involved. It doesn't look like anybody's been down to the actual site to see it. Let's see. Scientist Charles Paul, the distinct sonar may be a rock outcrop, sediment dropped into a fish from a fishing trawler, or even a school of fish. That's not a school of fish. That I can see something
Not
dropped.
that perfectly round.
No, I could see something like dropped from a fishing trolley or rocks, but that's not that's not a school of fish. Let's see. The Black Pyramid, Alaska. We're gonna look up this Black Pyramid, Alaska. This will be the last thing we look up for tonight. Because I was only planning on doing an hour show, and it's going on 10 o'clock, and our viewer count's dropping a little
No,
bit.
it's going on 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's going on 11 o'clock. What am I thinking? I've been up since 4 a.m. Black Pyramid of Alaska. The Dark Pyramid and Violent Nature. Let's see. No, you're good, Corey. You're good. You don't need to be sorry. But this looks more like it's what is this? Okay, so they're saying that these. All right, so that's what that is. Okay, so I have heard these. So the idea of the Black Pyramids, it's a top secret government facility beneath the Alaska wilderness, maybe here holding an extraterrestrial pyramid. So the pyramid itself is supposed to be extraterrestrial. The one that Corey's talking about, the Black Pyramid. Let's see, where is it at? He talks about it right here. Look to the Black Pyramid in Alaska. It's supposed to be extraterrestrial. And supposedly the U.S. government holds it. It's a pyramid that aliens built. So this is honestly like the first time I've ever heard of it. But every time I look up the Black Pyramid of Alaska, there's a podcast called The Black Pyramid of Alaska. There's a TV show.
Is there a picture of it?
Let me see. I'm not finding a picture. Supposedly it's sending out a frequency and the government has it on lockdown. I'm not seeing a picture of it. I'm seeing artist renditions. I'm seeing, according to this, from what it looks like, some people are saying, I'll bring up some photos here. It's hidden as a mountain. Somehow it's hidden as a mountain. Like here, this is the Pyramid Peaks in Alaska. Okay. They're saying this peak here is a hidden pyramid. And see, there's another angle.
I mean, it is pretty pyramid shape.
That is pretty pyramid shape. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, look all the way at the left. That line that goes down, that's a pretty friggin' straight line.
Yeah, here's an actual overhead.
Again, nature doesn't have that straight of a line appear.
But another thing too is that their measurements could be distorted on this because like you're not considering the snow. Like one side looks like it has more snow than the other side, so it could be. I don't know. It's something. It's interesting. Don't get me wrong. It's very interesting, and that's kind of cool looking. That's like something you find out actually is a pyramid, and you go inside and you find this all-powerful alien relic. Like the plot to a Star Trek movie. The Klingons are after it, the Romulans, and all of a sudden Spock gets it. It's
that's the next Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah, that's the next. That'll be the good Indiana Jones movie. Indiana Jones and the Pyramid of Alaska. Or no, what they should have done the Indiana Jones film they wanted to do originally, which was the follow-up to Last Crusade, Indiana Jones and the Secret of Atlantis. That was the one they were going to do.
Yeah.
And then that plot, they had that whole movie set up. That was going to be their next one. But something happened and something fell through. And they ended up selling the script to Disney, and Disney ended up turning it into an animated show or animated movie. So, and then of course, here we are 20 years from now. Now Indiana Jones with Disney. I'm sitting here thinking, well, why the fuck couldn't you do that? Because that, from what I remember, the plot centered around the search for Atlantis. Indiana Jones finding it. He's up against the communists again, not the Nazis. But he's also up against a cult society that wants the secrets of Atlantis. But I thought from the way it sounded, because this was the one that was supposed to be a follow-up to Last Crusade, it sounded good. Yeah. It sounded better than Crystal Skull. It sounded better than Dial of Destiny. It's one of those films that never got off the ground.
I will say I liked all of those movies, but some were better than others, but I liked them all.
Well, and you're going to have that with a lot of those films. It's like, you look at James Bond, for example. There are some good James Bond films out there, but then there's also some where you're like, it was okay. It was okay. And then you have your occasional one or two where you're like, that was horrible, you know? Or Star
I
Trek or
think
Star Wars.
I think I heard that they're actually gonna do one more Rambo movie.
Oh, I don't know. Rambo, I think is done. I don't know. Let me
That
see.
last one they did was pretty crazy. I mean,
That last
it
one
was
was,
so like so different than all the other Rambo movies.
yeah,
But
it was. Have you ever read the actual book?
the whole underneath the underground tunnels he had under that farm, and
Stallone has no intention of revisiting the Rambo franchise due to his age and arthritis. I know he's been suffering from arthritis pretty hard, but acknowledges the demand for Rambo 6. Rambo 6 is not confirmed, and there are currently no plans for a sequel. It may only move forward as a reboot or a remake with a different actor. Have you ever read the actual Rambo novels? The Rambo novel? First Blood. And this is why I respect Stallone so much. The book First Blood. It is at the end of the novel. Rambo is so damaged by his PTSD and what happened in Vietnam, he has to be put down. He has to be destroyed.
uh,
They kill him in the end. And that was the original plot of the Rambo of First Blood, the first Rambo. Stallone saw that, and he didn't want to do that not because he didn't want, his character to die, or he wanted the idea of, making more movies. No. Because he felt bad. He knew a lot of people who had actually served in Vietnam
yeah,
and came back with that PTSD and that pain and all that. And he literally told
and
them,
being treated like that. A lot of the Vietnam vets
yeah,
were treated like that.
yeah. My grandfather, who just passed away back in October, he served in Vietnam, and he said it was horrible how he was treated when he came home. And
There's a couple guys here that were both in Vietnam, and yeah, they're both suffering from PTSD, and I see what they go through. They don't sleep for shit. It's crazy. I mean,
yeah, the 100-yard stare. That's what they call it. But he wanted to change the ending to it, and personally, I think he changed it for the best. I think the ending to First Blood is perfect. I
and
mean,
it worked so good for part two.
yeah, it did. It worked so well, and it was. I mean, yeah, it started the Rambo series, yeah, which obviously it was going to, but it worked so well.
Yeah.
So well, Bubba, it's going on 11 o'clock. I am surprised we have as many audience members as we have right now. Thank you for filling in tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
I know many people got to get ready for work. They got to get to bed. I am
Yeah, I need to
fortunately
go out and have another smoke.
I am fortunately off tomorrow. Thank God. Um, I'm sure Rob will probably be back next Sunday. We will be going live again next Sunday around 8:30, 9 o'clock. It's like I said, Rob's very laid back when it comes to times, and that's fine. It's his. I do this show because I enjoy it, and I love working with Rob. So, but this is his
Yep.
show. This is his show. He's the captain. He is the captain. He is the captain. I'm just a steward. Kudos to him for doing that. The vets didn't need to see that. Not after all the hell they. But yeah, that's true. That's true. And that's why I prefer Stallone over Schwarzenegger. Don't get me wrong; they're both great actors, but Stallone, in my opinion, he's got more respect from me because of how he changed the ending to First Blood. So, well, what did we learn tonight? We learned that the Bigfoot still can't find it. Nobody's rushed that monkey yet. I do want to get shirts made. I'm gonna get some shirts made for that. I want to, because I'm already talking to people about making shirts for my other podcast, the podcast I'm on. But I want to get some shirts made for that. I'm gonna give them specifically to Rob so he can wear them. Like, here is your shirt. Thanks, Corey. Night, good show. And we learned that some people have taken this whole solar storm way out of proportion, thinking it's government, thinking it's hoax, faked, all that stuff.
Hackers,
Yeah.
cyber attacks.
China, Chinese weather balloons, that kind of stuff. Yep. But yeah, I think we had a decent show. We're sorry for the late start. We're sorry for the late start, and
Better late than no show at all.
Better late than no show at all. Well, when Rob said he wanted to take the night off, you know, I was sitting there thinking, if he's going to take the night off, I understand that, but could I do a show? And he literally fired back. He was like, "Go for it, do it." Okay, well, I'm doing a show, you know. So, but I'm sure Rob will probably be back next week. If not, if I get the blessing from Saint Robus, I'll do another show. Maybe we'll get Bubba back on. Maybe we'll get listener Adam. I know Adam's helped out a lot. Maybe we'll get Corey. Who knows? So
But
yeah.
you know I'm game.
Oh, I know you're down. Bubba, where can people find you next?
Tomorrow night, as far as I know, I'm doing the trivia show.
You're doing the trivia on morningdisaster.net.
Yeah.
So you're doing trivia with you and Holly. What's your trivia for tomorrow going to be?
Don't know.
Does she do the trivia?
I don't know if she's doing the questions. If I'm doing them, we don't know yet.
Oh, so she keeps you out of the loop. Well, that means you should be able to. That means you should be able to at least participate in the trivia, I'd say, wouldn't you?
We try to take turns. But she wasn't able to do the show this last Monday. And Kluge was going to produce, but he wasn't feeling too good either. So we just didn't do a show.
Right.
So I can't remember whose turn it is to do the questions. And
I know I was on it a couple weeks ago, and I had a great time with it, and I need to come back and do it again. Yeah, it was a great time. So, as for me, I will next time you'll catch me, I'll be on the Best Damn Podcast Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm gonna start a new show here in a while. I'm gonna start focusing on some local music. Gonna try that interview with Derek Moody kind of turned me around. We're trying to get it all set up. I'm trying to get the studio set up. I got this one guy, he's been sending me emails of local music, and I want to start talking to some local musicians and whatnot, and have them, you know, like spend an hour showing off their music and everything. So,
well, you know, I used to broadcast a lot of local bands when I did internet radio. So maybe I could send some local musicians your way for that.
Absolutely. I'd say go for it. I haven't got a date yet. I got to choose a date when I'm not running Best Damn Podcast, or we're not doing Werid Frequencies. And I got to also try and choose a date when your network, because your network almost has every freaking day. I got to choose a date when I can do that. So, but it's something I want to do. It's going to be just an hour-long show. We're going to play some music clips, some songs from local artists, and maybe we'll get them in here to interview them and get their music out there. So,
yeah.
So, all right, you guys, that's it for us. Special thanks to Bubba and everybody for getting in here and interacting with the show. We love you all to death. Like I said, Rob will be back next Sunday. If not, and like I said, if I get the blessing of Amos Dios Robosos, I might host again. I might host by myself. So, never know. We'll see what happens. So,
yeah.
That's it for us, obviously. Until next time, subscribe, share the show, send it to your friends. It's a nice show we like to do once a week, talking about everything going on. But until then, until that next episode, make sure you rush that monkey, probe that alien, make sure you fish that Loch Ness monster out of the lake. And what was the one I heard the other day? I had a comment the other day on a video. I gotta pull up the picture. I forget, but it was the extraterrestrial behind a tree that somebody photographed, and somebody literally left a comment on one of the old videos. It's like from months ago, before Christmas. Somebody said it looks like the alien is reaching out for a bong hit. So I gotta think of something with that. Where is that photo, real quick, before we get out of here? Do I have that on my computer? That is it in the Best Damn Podcast files? It is literally, I'll have to find it. But somebody, I screenshot it.
Send it to me.
But somebody literally said it looks like the alien is reaching out from behind a tree, trying to get a hit of that bong. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll do something like that. Maybe that'll be the shirt we'll draw. The alien reaching out with the hashtag rush that or probe that alien. You'll have Werid Frequencies logo on the bottom of it. I'm seriously going to make those shirts for Rob. I love working with him. So, all right, guys. Enjoy your week. Stay safe. Watch the Weather Tuesday. We will catch you next time on the next episode of Werid Frequencies.
We'll see you guys.
So long, everybody.